Good evening, good evening, and welcome to Visible Women on LinkedIn Season 5, Episode 4. This is the final ever conversation that we're going to have on Visible Women on LinkedIn Live. Oh my God, I am so sad. Not really. I love it. It's been amazing. It's been a great show. We've had a great run, and we're going to close it out with this awesome interview today and a virtual party tomorrow, which I absolutely want you to join us for. Now, if you are tuning in for the first time and you're like, what is this Visible Woman? I've just stumbled on because I saw a notification that Mildred is live. Well, first of all, thank you for tuning in. This show, Visible Women on LinkedIn, is a show that I created because I meet so many amazing women on LinkedIn in the line of work that I do. So I am a LinkedIn visibility coach, and I specialize in working with female leaders and business owners who really want to build their personal brand and really build their business, advance their careers or their business by being visible on LinkedIn. So this show really is to bring these conversations that I sometimes have behind the scenes. I want to bring them in front of stage to you so you can get to meet some of these awesome women. Now, we started this show in November 2020, and we've had 4 seasons before this. This is season number 5, which is closing the series. Don't worry, there's some new and exciting things coming later this year. Don't worry. So I'm not going to leave you without hearing these kind of conversations. But for now, this is the final episode of season 5, and I have an awesome guest for you. Just as I've done all week long, I spoke to an awesome lady on Monday, Maureen. Tuesday was Cassandra Robinson. Wednesday was Ann Stills. Today I've got a guest I'll tell you about in a minute. And then tomorrow is going to be you and me talking about visibility, having some fun, sharing some of my story. And I'm going to be giving away some prizes, mainly signed copies of my books. But listen, we have a show for you today. But if you are tuning in, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. And I'm going to be honest and tell you that StreamYard and LinkedIn have been very naughty this week. The tech has been really terrible connecting to both platforms. Right now, we are broadcasting live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So wherever you are streaming in from, I want you to let me know in the comments. I want you to say hello in the comments. Let me know where in the world you're tuning in from and what platform. Because my LinkedIn people, I haven't been able to see the comments and all of that in StreamYard because the 2 platforms are not talking to each other. But it's okay. We're going to make it work anyway because I'm going to flip between the screens. But I need you to say hello. I need you to let me know that you're tuning in and that you are watching with us today. And I need you to react to show that you're watching. So whether you want to like or love or support or curious, whatever one it is, choose one of the react buttons and use that to let me know that you're tuning in. Even if you're doing so on replay as well. I love my replay crew. If you're on replay, put hashtag replay and also leave your comments and follow along with us because we are going to have a great show today for this final conversation of Visible Women on LinkedIn. So, who is excited and who is here with me who is excited? Because I need to know that we are actually streaming live this time because last time it did not work very well. So we need to know that we're streaming live. But listen, if you want to learn how to be visible on LinkedIn, you are in the right place. So today's conversation, we are going to touch on visibility on LinkedIn, but we're going to more looking at my guest and her story and how she built her brand and what lessons you can learn from that. These conversations are often inspirational, motivational, educational, and all the other positive no's. It's all the no's. That's what they often are. And I have no doubt that tonight is going to be the same too. So Gula is excited, and Gula is excited on LinkedIn. Now that tells me that LinkedIn is working. There's a massive delay, but it's working. So that is awesome. Thank you, Gula, for confirming that. So that is awesome. So please drop your comments. Let me know where you're streaming in from. Let me know what part of the world you're in, because we have people from all over the world who tune in to Visible Women on LinkedIn. So I am excited too, Gula. That's my favorite word, excited. I am excited to have this conversation with my guest, and I'm going to bring her on to you right now. I'm going to introduce her to you right now. So today's guest for this final episode of Visible Women on LinkedIn, season 5, is actually, I'm privileged to call her my client, and because she's an awesome woman now who I've gotten to know over. In fact, we connected probably first time more than a decade ago, and I've gotten to know her quite a bit recently as my client, and I know she is absolutely fabulous, and she's got lots to say. Sharon Gaskin is a freelance, that she is the business coach for freelance trainers. So if you are a freelance trainer and you're involved in training in any kind, you need to be listening to this conversation. She created the Trainer Company, which is the UK's #1 resource for freelance trainers to create and grow successful businesses. Now, if you're in business, we all know how hard it can be to grow a successful business. So she specializes in helping trainers in particular to do this. And she's really cornered the niche on this market. She is the best at what she does. So tonight, we are going to have a conversation to get to know Sharon some more and to get to know what else she has to say and share with us about growing our business, building our brand on LinkedIn and beyond. So please, drum your fingers on your keyboard and help me to welcome to the stage Sharon Gaskin. Hello, Sharon.
I know.
Hi, Sharon.
Don't lie down already.
Sharon, looking fabulous in orange, I must say. I love it. Absolutely love it. Good to have you with us today.
Thank you. Lovely to be here. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Sharon. So I have some LinkedIn user who are helloing and whooping me. Now, for some reason, you're showing up as LinkedIn user. So I don't know who you are, and I'd love to give you a shout out. So give me your names. Type in your names, please. It's not showing up. Things are not fully streaming, but it's okay. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, listen, Sharon, I know I introduced you as the business coach of freelance trainers. I am not exaggerating. I am not exaggerating. But I want to know, how do you describe yourself and what you do? How do you talk to us about that?
Yes, well, I brought my hat with me. Firstly, because my hair looks such a mess. And I said to you, goodness me, I'm having my hair done tomorrow. Typical. I needed to have it done today, but I didn't anyway. But I bought my hat for that reason. If it gets too much, I will just pop it on. So I won't have to look at it anymore. But I also wear a number of hats as the kind of founder of the Trainers Training Company, because there's lots of different parts to the business and lots of different products and services. But the main thing that is common to everything that we do in the business is that we are there, or I am there, and my team, to serve freelance trainers, to help them either start a business or to grow their business and make it much more profitable. Because let's face it, most trainers love the bit when they're in the training room doing all the delivery and the training work, but most of them don't like the bit where they have to go out and get business, and that's really what I help them to do.
Oh, nice. And we are going to talk about that, because without that bit, you don't have a business.
Exactly. No marketing equals no clients, as I'm always saying.
Yeah, absolutely. We are definitely going to talk about that. Christiana, yes, good to see you.
Yay,
And Carrie's in the house. Hey, the Visible Women Tribe is in the house. I love it. Absolutely love it. So, Sharon, I know no little girl goes, I want to be a freelance trainer, business coach for freelance trainers, and set up my own training company, when I grow up. So, what did you want to be when you grew up? When you were younger?
My goodness me, I didn't know you were going to ask me that. I had absolutely no idea. I was kind of one of those people who just sort of fell into things, as many people do. My career was quite boring in a way, really. Did the traditional, went to university, did a useless degree, came out not really knowing what I wanted to do.
What was that useless degree? What was it?
I did English, which kind of qualifies for nothing. So, I kind of had a nice time, but, didn't really know. I think I wanted to be a teacher originally. And I remember going to a teacher training interview and was rejected even to get on the teacher training course, because they said to me that I wouldn't be able to cope with life in the classroom. I was far too far too nice and not tough enough, I think was the feedback that I got. So I didn't really know what to do then. And then I got temporary job, and that was in kind of HR, and I did that because I thought it would be about working with people, which, even back in those days, I absolutely loved to do. And I quickly realised that it wasn't really about working with people, it was about shoving bits of paper around, which didn't kind of appeal to me either. So I kind of then fell into training completely by mistake. And what happened, I was working in this HR department, and there was a girl there who was responsible for training. She was running training courses, and she got a bit fed up with it, and she decided that she would go off and travel around the world for a year. And it said to me, do you fancy kind of getting involved in this? And I was kind of like, me, kind of go in the training room and run training courses. That sounds really scary. I don't really. So I just started running, kind of helping her and running kind of, the odd training exercise, sitting on the sideline, being a bit of an apprentice, I suppose, in a way. And then when she decided to go off and around the world, then they offered me the job. And that was how I started my life as a trainer, completely by accident. The accidental trainer.
The accidental trainer. Okay, so even though that was by accident, I want to we want to talk about that some more. But you said you always kind of had a love for people. So where did that come from, and how did that manifest itself when you were even smaller, when you were really little?
Oh my God, I have no idea. I can't remember.
Sometimes we have clues, isn't it? They say that whoever you are at age 7 is your truest self, apparently, So do you remember what you're like at age 7?
No, well, actually, it's a funny thing. I've always, certainly as I got older and kind of went, into sort of my teenage years and in my 20s and stuff like that, I was always able to, to talk to people. I always enjoyed being with people and didn't, have an issue, being around people. And, I like fun. I like a fun type of environment. I get, stimulated by being with people. But looking back, I probably wasn't like that as a child. I think I was probably quite shy. So I think it's something that I just kind of, grew and developed over the years, I think.
So that's what would you say your personality type is then? Because if you're stimulated by being with people, that's kind of leaning to the extrovert side, but then the whole reserved kind of thing, that's introvert. So where are you? You either side or a bit of both?
No, definitely on the extroverts. I've done so much of the personality profiling stuff over the years. I've done, MBTI, DISC, Insights, all those type things. And and they're always just so true. In fact, I was reminded of it today when we were in a session for my Trainer Talk membership today, and they were just going through the different personality types. It just sort of came out in conversation, and they did a little snapshot of a kind of yellow person, which is me, and the really good part, the good aspects of a yellow personality are, sort of, they love people, they're quite kind of warm-hearted, supportive, creative, all those sorts of things. But the other side of it was kind of like they haven't really they get easily distracted, they get bored with things easily, they flick from thing to thing, all that sort. And I was like, that's definitely me there. Definitely.
Okay, so that's interesting. But this training thing, somehow you tried it out for a bit, and it caught your attention, it caught your interest. Why was that?
Well, it was purely because I was working with people, in a training room all day, just sort of, facilitating people, kind of drawing out ideas, talking to them, helping them to do things that they, couldn't do before, all that kind of thing. That was really, it was almost, one of my sort of mantras really that I've always felt quite strongly, and this is something that now is really, I talk to my own clients and my community about all the time, is about, finding the joy in whatever you do, and really loving what you do, whatever that is. Because if you don't love what you do, then just go off and find something else. So, and I do like working. I like everything that I do to be fun and enjoyable. And certainly I found that in the early days of my career in the training room. Most of the time it didn't feel like a job. It was, it was just great fun.
Okay, and what were you training people on? What were their topics?
Yeah, to begin with, it was the usual anything and everything, all the sort of soft skill. I was running induction courses, I was running, customer service courses, time management, people management, sort of time type things, just really anything and everything, which is exactly what I tell my clients not to do now. But that was it. But that was in a corporate world. But then as I sort of, developed, my job became more, on the sort of managerial side, and I was really running kind of, dealing with more senior people and kind of running more management development type, and designing those and implementing those sorts of programs.
Okay. Okay, so that's good. So you're doing this and you're loving it. How many years did you do that for before we get to the stage of, the entrepreneurship thing started happening?
Yeah. I think about 7 years, something like that. And it was something that I never, well, I'd always envisaged myself. I always had a dream of starting my own business. But like most people, it was just that. It was just a kind of dream. And I used to, in my corporate job, I used to hire people like me. So I used to hire, training consultants to come in and run courses for the company. And after they'd run their course, they'd come in and they'd send me their invoice, and I'd look at the invoice and I'd go, oh, that's all right. Yeah, £1,500 a day. Oh, right, it's some money for old rope. That is. I kind of, I'd like a bit of that, thank you. But then I wasn't really brave enough to do it, when push came to shove. Every time I thought about it, I was like, yeah, well, I've got my company car and I've got my nice salary and I like my job and all this kind of stuff. And it was like, yeah, one day, someday, one day. And then, like, I think most people who start their own businesses, I'm sure you have the same. I'm sure many people watching this have had the same. If, they run their own businesses, there's quite often a catalyst, something that pushes us in that direction that, yeah, okay, I'm going to do it now. And for me, it was a relocation. So we were living down in Sussex, actually, in West Sussex. And, my husband came home one day and said, that job that I've been headhunted for that was in London. Like, oh yeah. He's like, well, it's going to be in Birmingham now. So, how about moving? I was like, okay. And we'd literally moved into a house. Me, I'm always moving. But we had literally moved into a house that we thought would be our forever home. We'd bought it off the plot. It was a 5-bedroom house. It was being built. It was kind of everything. We designed all the kitchen and, all that kind of stuff. And it was all great. And we'd moved in at Christmas. And it was 3 months later in March that we found ourselves having to move up to the Midlands.
Wow. Wow. I would have said, no, I don't want to leave my new house.
Well, it's kind of, we'd always wanted to get out of the south, I suppose, and sort of, so this was a good opportunity. And that was for me, it was like, oh, okay, I can't do my job anymore now, can I? So I'm going to have to leave this job. And I came up to the Midlands, and originally I thought, okay, I'll just start applying for jobs again. And my had 2 children. I still have 2 children. I have 2 children, but at the time they were little. So Amy, my daughter, she was 4, and she was just about to go to school, and Ryan, my son, was 2. And I just thought, what? Do I really want to be, to going into a job, maybe a demanding job? doing the commute into Birmingham every day, that kind of thing. Probably not. So what am I going to do instead? Oh, I know. I'll start my own business. So
Yeah.
that was that one.
Okay. So it just felt like it was the right time. It sounds like the right thing and at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a number of things came together. I had no idea how I was going to do it at that point, but it just felt that kind of, I couldn't be a lady that lunched, we needed an income. So I was kind of like, okay, is this way or no way? So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then when you said that to your husband and said, okay, I'm going to start my own business instead of looking for another job, what was he like? What was his response?
He doesn't listen most of the time, so he
Was he watching football at the time?
probably, yeah, he probably just nodded his head and went, "Oh, okay." Yeah, and that was it. I think he was so ensconced in his own little world and what he was doing. I don't really think that, as long as it wasn't impacting him much, that I was still there to look after the children and he could do whatever he wanted to do. I think that was just let me get on with it. I think so. Yeah.
Okay, because your kids are quite 4 and 2. That's quite small to start a business because the business is like another baby,
Oh, completely.
Yeah. So what did you do then? What were the first steps you took? And did you have this idea, okay, I'm going to start a training business? Or was it just, I'm going to start a business, but I don't know what it's going to look like? How did that evolve?
Yeah, I'm just going to be this kind of freelance trainer, training consultant, just doing what everybody else seems to be doing, and it can't be that hard. That's what I thought. And so I just set off, and bearing in mind I'd kind of moved to this new area and I didn't know anybody. Literally, I just left all my contacts behind me, didn't know anybody. So I remember in those early days thinking, I'll just get some associate work. So I'll just, so associate work is when you go and you get, you registered with a training company and then they, send you work. So I literally remember being in the back bedroom of this house, my new house, just kind of banging my CVs out to all these training companies, to anybody that would listen, to see if I could kind of get some work from them. And I was very fortunate in that I did manage to do that. I'm pretty sure my diary started filling up, but it started filling up with the wrong kind of work. So I was really busy, but I wasn't really being paid very much money, and kind of being a bit of a busy fool really, and very quickly got fed up with that. So realised something had to change.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. And I know and I want you to share some of your experiences on this because this is what you help people do. But you said you were really busy, but you weren't being paid a lot of money for it. A lot of business owners are in that situation where their diary's full. They've got loads going on. They've got meetings. They've got appointments. They're going here and there, but their bank account doesn't reflect, the activities. So how were you savvy enough to know that there was a mismatch since you were so new in business?
Well, I tell you what it was, and this sounds really, really simplistic, but as you know, I'm a very simple person, so I like things to be simple. So I kind of knew at a logical level, not a logical level, a logical level, I guess. The logical level, I knew that in those days I had one client of my own, who I was charging, I think, £900 a day, something like that. And I had all these loads of other training company clients, and they were paying me 150 a day or 200 a day. So at a logical level, I knew that obviously it would be more lucrative for me to concentrate on these clients that were, that I was charging £900. But because I needed to see it, I needed to find some way, I needed evidence, I needed to kind of demonstrate that to myself. So what I did, I remember, got a spreadsheet or a table, and down one side of this bit of paper or this table, I listed all the days that I was doing for this client that I was charging £900. So number of days, total amount of money. And on the other side, on the right-hand side, I listed all the days that I was doing as an associate, number of days, total amount of money. And when I saw that the money that I was earning in this side was not only far greater, but I was doing like a third of the number of days. But I had to see it for myself. I kind of knew that. If somebody told me, I was like, oh yeah, I understand that. But maybe it's the way my brain works, being kind of visual or something. I just needed to see it. And when I saw that, the penny absolutely dropped, like in a big way. And I just thought, I've got to stop. I've got to stop doing this. And I had to find some other way of. And the other thing that was happening was, well, I'd started this business to be there more for my children. But because I was training like 5 days a week, it was like having a job again. And I was putting them into childcare all the time. And I'm like, that's not right either. So it was probably those two things that came together. And I just gave myself a like, and I took radical action, Mildred. Radical action. I literally, and there's been several times that I've done this during the course of my business. Once I decide something, I generally just do it without consequences.
Yeah.
Failings. But I just do it. I get them and do it. And I got rid of every single bit of associate work. I just got rid of it overnight. And I contacted everybody and said, I'm not doing this anymore. So I went from a full diary to nothing, literally in the space of a week. And I was like, okay, I have no choice now to find these clients that are going to pay me 900 quid a day because I don't have this or have one. Yeah. That's what I did.
Radical action. I like that. If you're taking notes, I would definitely highlight that radical action, because that's the thing about being an entrepreneur. It's like you can't afford to like have a comfort blanket sometimes. You just gotta rip it off. you know, and just go for it, you know.
Yeah.
Radical action. I love that. Were you a little bit scared, or was it just kind of like, I've made up my mind, I'm doing this?
Scared, but it's always that. I think anytime I take that kind of decision in my business, and there's a few things that in my business right now that I think I'm about to take radical action again, and I think every time I go through that, it is that mixture of feeling a little bit scared, but also feeling excited that something new is about to happen as a result of what you're doing, and because you know that you just can't go on doing the same old thing. So you've got a choice, haven't you, to carry on doing the same old thing or to take some action and see what happens. And I think I would always be, and this is throughout my life as well as my business, I think I'm the kind of person who I would rather take action and it all go wrong than not take action at all. I don't want to ever be that person, because I wish I'd have done that when I had the chance. That's because it's all an experiment anyway, Mildred, isn't it?
I can totally relate. I always say like regret is the worst emotion for me. Like I don't ever want to feel regret. I'd rather have done it and failed than think, oh, I wish I'd done it. So yeah, I totally relate. Morgan is asking for some clarification if your clients are companies or individuals. I don't know if she means now or then. So let's talk about then. And then we can talk about now later.
So back in those days when I had what I would call a sort of traditional training company, my clients were organisations. Yeah, they were companies, whereas now they are individuals. And that was a big change for me as well. For sure.
Another radical action.
Yeah. This was huge radical action. This one was.
Okay, well, take us there. So you sit there, and because numbers don't lie, you're sitting there, you're looking at it black and white, and you can see this is not working out, So then you fire out basically all your associate work, all those company clients, and it's just you. What did you do next? How did you build your business from there?
Oh God, what did I build my business? Really through just connecting with people, meeting people, connecting with them, talking to them, going networking, all those sorts of things, building relationships, being really consistent with building relationships. You know, one of the main strategies that I used in those days, I was telling somebody about it the other day, really simple, I still teach it now, was, you know, having a cup of coffee with somebody every Friday morning. And I would say coffee, I don't know if it was tea, having a cup of tea with somebody. But, you know, but it was literally a discipline that I had. And so I would always be filling my Friday morning slot with somebody, and just turn up. And the important thing when I was doing that is to just go and have a chat with somebody with no expectation, you know, no expectation that I've got to sit and have a cup of tea with them. And, you know, if I get, and the sole objective is to get business. And if I don't get business, then I've failed. It wasn't about that. It was about just making a connection. And then once you've made a connection and built that relationship, just work hard at keeping in touch with that person. And it was amazing. And that's really how I built my business. And so many, and I talk to my clients now, and I always tell them that what you're doing is you're sowing seeds in lots of different places. Like having a garden, you know, you sow lots of seeds and they all grow and pop up at different times. And that's really what you should be doing in your business, because then, you know, people will pop up when they need you. The reality is they're all not going to need you at the same time. You could talk to somebody for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, they'll never need you. But then when they do, and they will at some point, then they'll come back to you. And that's really what it was all about. And it was quite simple, really, in a way.
Yeah, I love that. That whole connection, building your business by connections and relationships it's so key. So I know back then you did it literally in the flesh, obviously pre-COVID, pre-social media and internet. Do you feel like having social media has made this easier to do or harder to do?
What, to build relationships?
Yeah, but especially that particular habit that you got into every Friday coffee, tea morning thing that you were doing.
Yeah. Well, back in those days, I mean, we're now around about 2006, 2007, that kind of thing. You know, we didn't have social media then. So it was, you know, we had no choice but to do that. And so that's what I mean. In a way, it was much simpler. I think the problem these days with marketing is that, yes, it's amazing because we have more options, we have more tools to reach people. But the very fact that we have more tools to reach people means that a lot of people with their own businesses get completely and utterly overwhelmed, because they just, I could do this, I could do that. Oh, I'll try a bit of this, I'll try a bit of that. Oh, no, that's not working. Oh, I'll try this. And it's all coming at you. And when you do get overwhelmed, what tends to happen? You don't do anything.
Yeah, that's it.
And
That's
then
it.
you don't do anything, and then you beat yourself up because you're not doing anything. And so then you just take the next thing that comes along, and then it's not working, and then you get into this never-ending cycle of you know, of, I don't know what to call it, but you get stuck. You know, that's what you just get stuck. And this is certainly the people, you know, my clients who've been on my courses and people in my community, has quite often where they are, and I help them to, you know, to make things very simple, to make things manageable. So they are, because often it's the little things that we do. Results. And so just having those systems in place where you're doing those little things every day, like me, a cup of coffee on a Friday morning is an example of a system, little thing that you can be doing and implementing in your business.
I love that. Do you still do that Friday morning tea thing?
Yeah, well, I do it in a different way, because, you know, it's, as I say, it's like now, like I was doing today, sort of reaching out to people in my community, having one-to-ones with them, because, you know, and the message I sent to these people was, yeah, I see you often in a group setting because you turn up to our group sessions, but I rarely see you in a one-to-one setting and find out what's really going on in your world. So how about a one-to-one, which is what I do. So I kind of still do it, but in a different kind of way.
Yeah, I really like that idea, by the way. I really like it. I really like it. But okay. So how did you build your business from then on? So you make the decision, you take this radical action, you start doing this. What happened next, and how did you grow it to this company that you have today, the
Right.
Trainer Company?
Okay. So I was going along with my other business, in my training business, obviously, and I'd got to the point where I had no clients, and then I had loads of clients, and I'd achieved my objective. I had got all my corporate clients, and I was charging them all good money and all this kind of stuff. And then something else happened. So what happened was, two things happened. Two things came together. The first thing was, I kind of noticed I was going about, having conversations with people. And quite often people would contact me in my network and say, Sharon, I'm thinking about becoming a freelance trader. I'm thinking about setting up my own training business. Will you have a cup of coffee with me and tell me what it's all about? So I used to do that. I said, sure, I can help, and et cetera, et cetera. I just kind of noticed that. And then I also, because it was happening more and more, I also thought, maybe there's something in this. Maybe I can help these people. And there doesn't really seem to be anybody else around who's doing this. So there were lots of places around where you could get help to start a business or grow a business, but there was nothing around that was just purely for trainers. So I thought, okay, maybe I can do this. So I thought about it, and I wrote an ebook, and it was a bit more, it was about 150 pages long, and you can still buy it on the website if you want to. How to launch a training business in 30 days. And I put everything I'd learned about running my own business as a trainer, I put into this. And I got myself a little one-page website, and I called it the Trainers Training Company. I stuck it on there, and then I didn't do anything with it. And the reason why I didn't do anything with it, because I was like going, oh, nobody's going to pay for this. This is not really a business idea. But there's so much free information around. Who's going to buy this? Who's going to be interested? So, yeah, didn't do anything. Then the other thing that happened was that my son, Ryan, who was kind of 9 at the time, so he was playing a lot of tennis, and he was just entering all these local tournaments and kept winning them all the time. And, it was really good. And then the LTA got involved, and they said, oh, he really needs to go to this high performance centre in Birmingham. And, I was like, okay. So we decided that's what we would do. We would help and support him. But it involved him. I had to pick him up from school every day at 12 o'clock, take him out of school, drive up to the tennis centre, stay with him, do all the tennis mum thing, bring him back at 8 o'clock, all that kind of thing. So clearly, I couldn't be going all around the country running these training workshops anymore, like something had to give. So I thought, I need to reinvent myself. I need to do something different. I need to find a way of working from home and making money from the internet. And it's so funny, because when people started using Zoom 2 years ago, I was like, I've been using Zoom for like 7 or 8 years, because I suddenly realized that I could start. I mean, it wasn't Zoom in those days. It was instant teleseminar. Do you remember those? Do you remember?
Do actually. I didn't use them. I remember that. Dial in. Yeah.
I did, but nevertheless, you could do it from home. And I thought, okay. And I thought, do you know what? I've got this website thing sitting there doing nothing. This is what I need to do. Radical action, Mildred. Number 2.
Yes.
I closed my other business down completely. Got rid of all the work that I was doing, and I was like, I need to focus 100% on this Trainers Training Company thing, helping trainers with their businesses. So all I had then was this one-page website and one ebook.
Oh, wow.
That was my business model.
You have a lot of guts. You do.
I know, but
yeah,
that's what I did.
And then you made 6 figures overnight with this one-page website and ebook, and lived happily ever after. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. I was like, I had this one-page website. I was like, what the hell am I going to do now? Um, but you know, it just kind of evolved into something that I never thought it would evolve into. You know, I had the one-page website and the ebook, and then I thought, I'll run a course. I'll run a course for trainers to help them with their marketing. And I don't care if one man and his dog comes, but I will run this course, you know. And I started running the course, and people started coming, and then I was running that quite regularly and consistently. And then, as a result of that, the biggest fluke ever. This is a big part of my business, Mildred. It was the biggest fluke ever. It wasn't even my idea. So I was running these courses for trainers, and so I was building up a mailing list of trainers. And somebody contacted me one day and said, Sharon, you know, I just won this contract from this investment bank in London, and they want me to run these lunch and learn sessions and on all these different topics. And I don't have any trainers, you know. So can you find me some training? You must know loads of them. You've got this big mailing list. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll help you. So send me the details. She sent me the details and sent them out, sent the details out, got trainers. And then literally about 2 weeks later, I got another email from somebody different saying, oh, she's told me that I need to come to you to look for trainers. I'm like, okay. So it kind of went on and on. So I did this for about 18 months, just sending out these opportunities completely for free. And I had all these trainers, you know, basically all getting work through this service. And after about 18 months, I thought, this has got to stop. I've got to start doing something with this. So I started charging them a subscription. But I'll tell you a really funny story about this. So I had this idea to charge the trainers a subscription as I was sitting there watching Ryan at tennis one day. And I thought, this is it. This is it. I can. This is my way to make some more money. So at that time, I had, I don't know, let's say I had on my whole mailing list, I had like 2,000 people, something like that. And I thought, right, this is a no-brainer. What can I charge them? I'll charge them, because bearing in mind they were getting this service completely for free. And I thought, okay, I'll charge them £27 a year. That is a no-brainer.
Oh,
that is a no-brainer. Let's just, you know. So everybody's going to. So I thought, I was literally there with my calculator. I was like, 27 times 2,000. And I was like, oh my God, that is like so much money. That is just going to be. Yeah. I got home. I was like so excited to send out this email. And in this email, it would say, you know, you've had this great service, but, you know, it's no longer going to be for free. But the good news is it's only going to be £27 for the whole year. So if you want to stay on this list, then you need to press the payment button now.
Yes.
Waiting for the money to roll.
Yeah.
Already mentally spending it, you know. How many people do you think signed up?
Oh, I know the nature of people. So I know you didn't even get up to 100 on that.
Not
maybe
a single one.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, aha, okay.
This was not the $1 million idea I thought it was.
No, but quite interestingly, I held my nerve with it. I thought, okay, right, fine. But the emails are going to stop. I'm not sending these emails out. And then eventually, when the pennies started dropping, that these emails had just dried up, then a few people came back and said, oh, what is this? You know, wasn't there some kind of payment link? And so it did eventually. But that service, and then that service just grew, and it's no longer £27 a year, but I have put it up several times. But that has been a real, up until COVID, that was a massive piece of the business. And but it came from a fluke, a complete fluke, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You call it a fluke. I call it, so because you've had all these other things in place, sometimes your business finds you. You know, sometimes the right business idea finds you. All you have to do is let go. So you took radical action in moving in that direction, and that opened up the
Yeah.
opportunity for this
Yeah.
business to find you, this element of your business. So I love that. That's so interesting. But yeah, not a single sign up. That is I totally can understand. Every entrepreneur knows that feeling of you put something out thinking it's the best thing since sliced
Oh, I
bread
know.
and nobody bites.
So
Nobody.
funny.
You know. But yeah, but right now today, I know you've got hundreds and hundreds of people as part of Trainers Training Talk. You've worked with thousands, of
Yeah.
trainers, and you do this. You have supported so many freelance trainers,
Oh,
in this avenue,
yeah.
based on your experience and all of that. So you're doing amazing work. You're absolutely doing amazing work. So, but we have got to talk about LinkedIn. We have got to talk about, and I know because this is Visible Women on LinkedIn, and I cannot let you get away without talking about LinkedIn. So, and I know you love LinkedIn so much, Sharon, right? Not. So, but basically, you built your business initially without any kind of social media, through connections and conversations. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct.
Okay.
The early date, because really when I started Trainers Training Company, 2009, social media was just coming on the street. And in the early days of my business, it was all done through Twitter.
Oh,
I mean,
Twitter! Wow.
honestly, Twitter in those days was so good for my business. One, because there was barely anybody on it. I was really an early adopter. And it was really easy to, create those conversations with people and then to go on to meet them face to face. I am no longer on Twitter. I deleted my account about 3 or 4 years ago because Twitter's just really changed now into something. But in the early days, a lot of it was done through Twitter. And certainly my Trainers Talk community and my membership, a lot of that has been done through, I say through social media, but if I'm honest, a lot of it has been done through personal connection, meeting people face to face or being on Zoom or whatever, and through my email list, really. My email list is, people, always respond to it, which has been great.
How did you grow that email list? Was that through Twitter as well?
Yeah, through Twitter, social media, through my website, through Google. Even today, most people who sign up for the freebies on the website and come onto my mailing list come via Google because they're searching for something. A pop-up pops up. Yes, those annoying pop-ups do actually work. I did an experiment when I took it off, and when I took it off, the sign-ups went right down. It was really noticeable. So.
Oh wow, okay. And how many do you have now on your mailing list?
Oh my gosh, the mailing list these days. Well, you say it fluctuates between anything 4,000 to 5,000. So again, it's not massive. But again, as well, you've got to think about the reason why I went home. And yeah, I've probably got numbers right, but the number of people who are actually engaged on the list is much smaller.
Yeah.
But then the business does come from there. When you
Yeah.
trace people back as to where they've come from. So many people, Mildred, say to me, when they sign up for stuff, they go, "Oh yeah, I've been on your list for 2 years or 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, and I'm finally doing this," or "I've been following you on LinkedIn or Facebook," and generally I have no idea who they are, but they're there.
Yeah.
They are there. So
That's it. And that's the power of consistently showing up, isn't it? So, because sometimes it might not look like anything's happening, but it is happening. People are watching,
yeah,
people are looking,
they are. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you found your way up. So you love Twitter. I know you closed it down, and you have quite an active community on Facebook,
Yes.
and Facebook, and you love Facebook. But LinkedIn was the one that you did not love, of all the platforms. But you found your way over to LinkedIn. Tell us why.
Well, I have always been on LinkedIn, because it was kind of you have to, everybody's on LinkedIn. But I would say I was on LinkedIn, but I wasn't really on it. I mean, I've got, God knows how many connections on there. I don't know how many.
It's about 13,000
Oh,
last
right, 30.
check.
You see, you know more than me. So 13,000 connections.
Yeah.
But don't really people keep wanting to connect with me, but I don't really do anything with it, or hadn't been. I was very guilty of that. And the reason for that was I never felt, I don't know, it never sang to me, you know. So how to describe it? So when you're on your phone and you've got all your social media there, and you've got all your notifications, so you go, I'll go to Facebook, I'll go to Instagram, I'll do this, do that. LinkedIn was always the last one that I would go to. Yeah. So it's not a place that I would kind of, oh, I'd love to go. Let's go and have a look on LinkedIn and see who's there and see. I was like, oh, do I have to go on LinkedIn? Because it didn't speak to me. It didn't make my heart sing. I felt it was a very masculine environment for some reason. I felt there was a lot of judging. I felt perceived judging, or probably a lot of it in my head. Not a very welcoming place, a bit stuffy, a bit corporate. It's just not a place I wanted to hang out, frankly. You know, I would put posts on there, and a lot of them would be scheduled, but it wouldn't really show up properly. That's what I mean. I was on there, but I wasn't on there. Maintaining a presence, but not really being active and engaged. But I realised, you know, all my LinkedIn has changed a lot over the years, obviously, has become a lot more like Facebook, because they recognise Facebook is so easy. They've just copied.
I'll battle you all day over LinkedIn versus Facebook.
And all my market, all the people that I want to help and I want to work with are on there, because trainers are all over LinkedIn, because they want to get business from LinkedIn. So it kind of didn't make sense not to show up on LinkedIn. And also I felt that, you know, I advocate the use of LinkedIn to my own clients. So I felt I should be walking the talk and being more authentic by showing up on LinkedIn. So I decided reluctantly that I would up my game a little bit, but it has been something of a struggle.
I love it. And we're working together to build your LinkedIn presence. Absolutely. But you had a breakthrough recently about LinkedIn, and I want you to share it, because you're not the only one who feels like this. You know, you're not the only one who I speak to women all the time, and I exactly some of the things you describe LinkedIn feeling like more of a masculine environment where there's more, you have to be someone that you're not, you know. So describe that feeling of that you shared so well in a post recently about putting things out there, feeling like you had to post a certain way to show up on LinkedIn, and then having this breakthrough that, you know, that's not actually necessary.
Yeah, I think it was one of the other ladies. It wasn't just one of the other ladies in the group. It was just how I've always felt about LinkedIn. You go through your LinkedIn feed and you see a lot of stuff. And a lot of stuff, people have put these beautifully crafted, very wordy, either posts or articles, which would take you ages to read, but always quite, you know, intellectual and, you know, very erudite is the word that I would use. And as somebody said to me the other day, I've not noticed anybody being erudite on LinkedIn. And I was like, yeah, well, but anyway, that was my perception. That was kind of in my head. And every time I saw that, literally my heart would sink. I could feel it like a physical thing. If you ever feel that, you know, when your stomach goes like that, and I started turning around, and I would probably even sink down in my chair. I just kind of like, oh God, because I felt I can't do that. I can't write like that. I'm not clever enough to write like that. I will never write like that. So if I have to be like that on LinkedIn, that is why I can't do LinkedIn. If that's what it takes, then I can't do it. And then I just realized, and, you know, you and I were talking, and, you know, one, I was always struggling for inspiration. And, you know, we were talking about the fact that it's just all about what happens in your day. So, you know, I started keeping a little book, ideas and inspirations. So I would just write down anytime I was working with a client or something or anything, or I noticed something on LinkedIn, I would just write it down, and it's all there in my book. So you could just write about that. And then I also realised that, because I had this perception that it did have to be so wordy, and then I realised that it didn't have to be wordy. As a result of the conversation with you, like, can be really short. It can be bullet points. It can be one sentence. It doesn't have to be. And I was like, oh, really? I could do that. And that just kind of really freed me up. And so I did a post about that, didn't I? About that situation, about feeling that I couldn't be me on LinkedIn and all that kind of stuff. And I did this post, and it got loads of views and comments. It was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, kind of went mini viral, didn't it? Because people could relate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel a lot freer now about LinkedIn. I'm a lot less. I'm kind of like, if I just show up and write one sentence, then that's fine. It doesn't have to be this, carefully constructed thing that would take me 3 hours to put together. I don't do that anymore. I didn't think about doing it. It's kind of all short, sweet, be myself, one sentence, points. If people don't like it, then that's fine.
I love it. Liberty, right? That's what we want. We want you to be free. We want you to be liberated. So awesome that you are on this journey, and I know we're not yet done. We're still working on it, but we've made great progress, and I'm so pleased for you. I'm so pleased for you. But as we are coming to the end, I want to end with this question. What does visibility mean to you, and would you describe yourself as visible?
Oh, that's a good question. What does visibility mean to you? Well, I guess the phrase that always pops up, doesn't it, when anybody talks about visibility, is the dreaded putting yourself out there, to which people always go, well, what does out where? What does out there kind of mean? So for me, I think it is visibility is putting yourself out there. But it's putting yourself out there in a way that works for you, because it's your business. So, if you don't want to, if you're not comfortable putting yourself out there on LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook or wherever it happens to be, then don't do it. Find some other way where you can put yourself out there, but where you can be yourself. And remember, I talked about joy right at the start of this interview. That is really important. Find the joy in your business. Do what you love. Find the joy. Make it easy for yourself. And of all the things that you could potentially do to put yourself out there will be some that will fall into that category. Find that one thing. Find that one thing that brings you joy, is easy for you, and do that to make yourself visible.
I love that. It's powerful. So, with that definition, are you visible? Would you say?
Well, I don't know. I'll let you be the judge.
To be continued.
Yeah,
To be continued. But I love that definition of finding the joy and finding your way of being visible, because we all gonna have a way and something that fits with us. So yeah, that's amazing. That's a really great place to end, because if we're not finding the joy in our business, then
go and do something
we should
else.
be doing it. Yeah, go do something else. Exactly. So yeah, I love that. Oh gosh, Sharon, we are at the top of the hour already. We are at the top, and that was really, really interesting for me. So I love your journey. I love what you had to say, especially around taking radical action. I think that's so inspiring, the way that you just kind of taken radical action in your business and in your life. We didn't even get to talk about all the many moves that you've done, because house moves house moves are not an easy thing. I'm going through one right now. It's not easy. So yeah, and thank you so much for sharing with us so boldly, so openly, and yeah, I love it. Thank you for your time tonight.
You are so welcome, and thank you. If there is anybody that has stuck with this, then thank you so much.
Yes. They absolutely, absolutely have. And of course, I know we can connect with you on LinkedIn, so if you are connecting with Sharon on LinkedIn, please do tell us from Visible Women. But also, you mentioned your website a few times. Can you tell us where to find you, and if anyone wants to plug into your work some more,
Yeah,
register on your mailing list?
just go to, yes, connect with me on LinkedIn, or just go to the Trainers Training Company.co.uk, and you'll be able to find out more there.
Fantastic, fantastic. So Sharon, thank you so much. I'm gonna leave you to enjoy the rest of your night while I close out the show. But we will of course be seeing you on LinkedIn. So thank you for your time and have a great evening.
You are so welcome. Bye now. Bye.
All right, bye now. Bye. Okay. All right. And Sharon's awesome interview wraps up the very, 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 very final episode in terms of conversation wise of Visible Women on LinkedIn. So it's the end of season 5 and it's also the end of the series, but it's not fully ended until tomorrow. Because tomorrow we are going to have a party, an end of season party to celebrate. It's a virtual party, so I want you to be there the same time as today, 7 o'clock GMT, 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Please come and join me. Join me. Don't let me be there on my own. Bring your glass, bring your water, whatever it is. But let's have a closeout party to celebrate the season. Go through some highlights, give away some prizes. I'll share with you some more of my own journey and then how you can start being visible on LinkedIn if you want to do that. So thank you, Sharon, for your time. Please do reach out to her on LinkedIn if you want to connect with her. And I am so looking forward to seeing you tomorrow as we end this awesome series, Visible Women on LinkedIn, with a bang. So set your reminder to be there. And thank you, everybody. Gula, Sonia, Munwara, Stella, I see you, Christiana. I see you all. And hopefully I will see you here again tomorrow at 7 o'clock GMT for this final episode. I know it's Friday night, but come on. Where else would you rather spend your Friday? Where else would you rather spend your Friday if not in front of your computer with me tomorrow? So I will see you then, hopefully. Until then, I'm going to sign out now and take care. Until then, bye-bye now.